The Joe Rogan Experience.
I'm entirely convinced that we're going to, inside of 100 years, live in a world where all of your thoughts really are documented, and they have access to them. The same way no one in their wildest dreams conceived of photographs 400 years ago.
Right.
And 400 years from now, we're going to have the ability to record thoughts and ideas, and they're going to be able to read the contents of each other's minds.
Right. That could be. Well,
it's going to suck.
Maybe we need some regulation there for that then.
Maybe we just have to accept the fact that most of what goes wrong in the world goes wrong because people can think these secret, sneaky, fucked up thoughts. Right. And when those no longer exist anymore, maybe we'll clean out human behavior.
There was an Outer Limits episode about that in the 1950s. It might have been the other one.
Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone, where this guy all of a sudden is able to read the minds of other people, and he's at work and he's listening to all these conversations and all this fun stuff. But then there's this one guy who's really dark, like he's gonna come in and blow everybody away. And so it sort of climaxes where he comes in and tells the boss and everybody, and they go in there, and it turns out the guy says, well, I was never going to do that. I was just angry and I was just thinking that. So that's like a Minority Report thing. You can have these thoughts.
Right.
We know from research that this is David Buss's research on. He wrote a book on murders, The Murder Next Door, it's called. And so he did the research on asking subjects, have you ever thought about killing somebody you didn't like? And it turns out like 80% of guys and 67% of women have had homicidal fantasies in their life. Now, 99.9% of us never act on our homicidal fantasies, but we get mad enough we can imagine. And he's got the narrative accounts because he also asked him, tell me what you would do. And oh my God, they're just incredible to read. Like I would break every bone in his body, and then I would pull out his fingernails, and then they go on, and you're like, holy shit.
But it's just fantasy.
It's just fantasy, yeah.
Well, some people have suicidal fantasies.
Yeah, that's
There's people that have fantasies of jumping off of a giant building.
Right.
But
most don't act on it.
Most don't act on it.
Right.
And there's people that just have these thoughts and they think them, they look at the edge and they go, I could just jump off right now and end this whole thing, but I won't. And should we punish them?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
In the Minority Report scenario, it's like, okay, we found out that this guy's thinking about robbing the bank. So he had a fantasy about it. He's not going to do it.
I've thought about doing that.
You have?
Not really. Not really.
Kind of fleeting...
But I was like, what would I do if I had to rob this bank? I mean, I've never actually considered robbing a bank, but I thought, okay, I'm at the bank. What if I just decided to pull out a gun and everybody get the floor? Where's the cameras? Where's the security guard?
You're right.
You've seen so many movies. It's if you're bored, But today, that's another thing. People are rarely bored because when they are, they just pull out their phone and stare at pictures of other people's butts.
Right.
I mean, it's just, it's like, you just pull out Facebook or Instagram and no longer bored.
When I was in my religious phase in college, before I went to Pepperdine, which is a religious school, I was at Glendale College just to get my GE out of the way. And my philosophy professor was an atheist and I was an evangelical, so I'm telling him about Jesus and the whole thing and the afterlife, and he wanted to know, are there golf courses and tennis courts in heaven? Because I got to have something to do. I'd be bored. I thought, I have no idea.
You won't need that.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to be with Jesus.
I know.
No one wants to play golf. God.
Then I also quote from Julia Sweeney's Letting Go of God monologue. She opens this monologue with, Julia from Saturday Night Live, with the Mormon boys coming by her house in Hollywood, and they're pitching their story. Like, okay, come on in, pitch me your story like it's a Hollywood, movie script. What do you got? So they tell her the whole time it's going to be great. The blind shall see again, the deaf shall hear again, and your body will be whole again. And so she says, well, let's see, I had uterine cancer, so I had my uterus taken out. Do I get my uterus back when I go to heaven? They said, yeah. She goes, I don't want it back. So she said, what if you had a nose job and you liked it? Do I have to get my own nose back?
That's true, right?
So I open this little funny story because it gets to the problem of identity. Who are you? So if you're resurrected with Jesus, see, earlier Christian sects before Descartes introduced dualism, they believe that when you're resurrected after your death, you are physically there in heaven, physically, and your soul, the whole thing. It's just one thing. So the question is, well, how old are you when you're there? So you're brought up and there you are sitting next to Jesus and God and whatever. So 30. 30 seems like a good year. It's the year Jesus was crucified. Okay, 30. Like, but wait a minute, I'm 63 now. So what happens to all the memories of my life for the last 33 years? Oh no, you get all those memories. Okay, but the memory of my being 30 now is different from the memory I had when I was 50 of being 30 and 40 being 30 and even when I was in my 30s being 30. The memories are always changing and edited and forgotten or modified, particularly based on life experiences that happen afterwards. So in your 20s, you go to this college, or you marry this person, or you take this job, or whatever. You don't really know what the impact of those decisions are until much later in life. Which is why I always think it's ridiculous for people to write memoirs in their 20s or 30s because they're celebrities. You have no idea what those things actually mean until much later. So this is the problem of who you are. So first of all, we already know that none of your body is the same material it was, say, a decade ago. Your cells are all recycled. The molecules and atoms are gone. There's new ones that replace it. It's the pattern. It's the pattern of information that represents you, Joe Rogan. This is what you look like. These are your memories. So somehow this has to be copied. So in the Ray Kurzweil scenario of the Singularity, we're going to upload the mind. They're going to copy your connectome, all your memories in your synapses. Okay, so right away there's the problem of, well, which memories? Well, all of them. No, there are no fixed set of memories that are you. Your memories are always changing. So the moment you take a snapshot of it, that's just a fixed point. That's not you, really. You are this whole long continuum that's always kind of flexible and changing. So there's that. And then there's the problem with the mind uploading scenario is there's two kinds of cells. There's the memory self, mem self of all your memories, and then there's the point of view self, the POV self. So when you go to sleep tonight, you wake up tomorrow, you're still looking at the world through your eyes, and there's a continuity of point of view from one day to the next. Same thing with general anesthesia. So like in the Johnny Depp movie Transcendence, where he's poisoned by these terrorists and he's dying, he's got like a week to go, he copies his mind, his connectome, equivalent of the genome, and puts it into a computer, and then he dies, and they turn the computer on, and he's in the computer looking out through the little camera hole. I don't see how this could happen. That is, if we copied you, your connectome, everything, all your memories. So we had a Joe Rogan #2 copy ready to go. But instead of you dying, let's say we had a sophisticated fMRI brain scan machine, slid you into it, copied your connectome, uploaded it into the cloud or whatever, and then we slide you back out, and you're standing there. You're still looking at the world through your eyes. That's just Joe Rogan #2, a copy. And no more do you look at that than a twin looks at its sibling and says, well, there I am. No, you're still standing there going, no, I'm here. That's just a copy of me. And so this, to me, seems a central problem with the mind uploading scenario. It's just a copy.
Did you see the thing in National Geographic today about the cloned monkeys?
No.
They've managed to actually clone monkeys?
No.
And yeah, Jamie, I tweeted it earlier today. It's crazy. And they're speculating that if they can do that to monkeys, they're going to be able to do that to humans.
Yeah. But again, so who is that?
Right, if there's a Michael Shermer, is it your twin? Yeah. I mean, like when you meet twins, it's very weird. Like I used to date a girl who was a twin. She had a sister who looked exactly like her, but like a little off, just a something, just a feel like, oh, you're not her, you're her sister.
Right.
Super, super confusing. So they weren't the same person, but they pretty much were. Yeah, here's the article. Scroll up there. Clone monkeys created in the lab. Now what? Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you're making copies.
Yeah, okay. So it's a copy, but it's not the same person because they have their own individual life experiences.
The moment you and your copy start diverging away and leading different lives, you're going to have different memories.